everyone, in this episode of Under the Radar, I am talking about a big crown, but it's not a Rolex big crown. It is a Titus Calypsomatic reference 7840. And these are really cool, interesting watches across all of their reference ranges. And they have like this perfect 1960s diver feel. With the Calypsomatic, you see 5 different iterations or references through the course of the 1960s, and they're all kind of unique in their own right. The most rare being the first reference, which is the 5913, but those are pretty rare, pretty hard to find, and really sought after. These watches respectively balance around the $3,000 to $4,000 range. The first reference being the most rare, the 5913, and those can go for a little bit more, but characteristically they stay within that sort of realm of price point. I like this one a lot, this 7840. The qualities that you get in these watches surpass almost anything else you get in this price range if this aesthetic is what you're looking for specifically. I personally have kind of fallen in love with it, and I've only had it for the past couple of days. And with these Calypsomatics, you get some really awesome characteristics that kind of emulate those of like the Rolex small crowns or Rolex big crowns. And you see it kind of starts off with this 38mm case, which reminds me personally of like the 6536 small crown or 5508 small crown. But then you have like this really big, very easy to use crown that reminds me more of like the 5510s or 6538s, the big crowns of Mariners. But with that, you have, you know, a ratcheting bezel, and it kind of has like that very crispy, perfect ratcheting bezel sound, and it's bi-directional, but you know, this is something that you don't really see in too many watches from this era. And personally, I think it was like a super useful feature, especially just because it kind of locks your position in place. And that's super important, especially back then when you were diving, and this bezel is kind of your lifeline of, you know, how much air you have, how long you could be down for. So I think that's just a really unique feature and kind of an underappreciated aspect of these Calypsomatics. But with that, then you get these like beautiful gilt dials. This one on this 7840 is basically flawless. It's one of the prettiest gilt dials I've ever seen, and you get that text, that really rich golden text that's just beautiful. And you know, of course, dial patina is always super important. These take on really interesting patinas, anywhere from like the earlier ones kind of going for like more of a grayish color to even more of like a pumpkin sort of orangey patina. This one I have on my wrist currently is kind of more of like that golden patina, and I think it just accents beautifully with the glossy black dial. So I just wanted to take a few moments to talk about the sort of brand history behind Titus. The full name for Titus is actually Solville et Titus, and I think I'm pronouncing that right, but if I'm not, please comment down below how to phonetically say that name. So Solville et Titus, or just Titus, had really firm roots in Switzerland. The company was founded actually in 1887, but they didn't really see a rise in popularity until after World War II, when the intrigue of underwater exploration kind of took off, and especially with that whole, you know, Jacques Cousteau era exploration and documentaries and overall awareness around just diving professionally and also recreationally. They kind of nailed it with the Calypsomatic, in my opinion, especially just aesthetically, but also what they were able to do with the watch. The Calypsomatic kind of became the watch for Titus. And when talking about vintage Titus, we're kind of talking about the Calypsomatic primarily. They had some other style watches, but when it comes to collecting and vintage timepieces, it's primarily the Calypsomatic. It was kind of a short-lived watch. You see it kind of enter into the 1950s, have these sort of different references and variations of itself, and then you kind of see the brand sort of fizzle off. It got sold. It's still a brand today, but they're actually based out of Hong Kong now, which is kind of interesting. It's actually a really popular watch in Southeast Asia, just as a normal modern watch company, which is kind of crazy. But in terms of just the overall collectability of these Tituses, I think that they're, you know, one of the best bangs for your buck when it comes to, you know, vintage divers, especially for the quality that you're getting with these amazing gilt dials, these awesome patinas, this sort of emulation of what it's like to wear a big crown Submariner, but have its own sort of twist on it. Personally, with, you know, a sort of increase in awareness around them that's sort of been happening in probably the past few years, I know that there's kind of like a cult following behind them, but as more of the general public or the general watch collector sort of discovers these Titus Calypsomatics, I just see the prices of them kind of going through the roof. And where they're at right now, they're a really, really cool watch that you can just get for a more affordable price point and really enjoy until they kind of take off in pricing. So with that, I want to say thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content just like this. Follow us on Instagram @CraftedandTailored. And if you have watch questions, we are here to help. You can email us directly at info@craftedandtailored.com, and we'll see you in the next one.